now let's jump into the MRC Data's 2020 US year-end report. What have you discovered?
So every year, twice a year actually, we put out a free report available to download from our website, which summarizes the key trends that we have seen in both the US music industry and the Canadian music industry in the prior year. So we released in the first week of January our 2020 report, and we cover everything from, the consumption trends, so what's happening with streaming, what's happening with sales, and then, a good summary of the key events of 2020, be they award shows or genres that we've seen interesting things happening, like K-pop. We cover there's an in memoriam section that looks at the musical artists that we lost in 2020. We pick some of the most interesting insights from the research that we've done, either on COVID or on Black Lives Matters and that movement. So yes, it's 50 odd pages long and it's free. So I urge anyone to go and download it. There's lots of good data in there.
And you've analyzed that consumers have spent more time with music than ever during 2020. What activities did they spend more time on, and how come?
How come? Well, there was this little thing called the pandemic. No, so yeah, I mean that's really been the story of 2020. The fact that our lives have been turned upside down, and people have spent more time with music. And what we saw were people, like I said, to begin with, spending a lot more time with news and television, but then they adopted new forms of entertaining themselves, and we saw a big rise in the use of social media, obviously as a kind of communication method as well, because that's all digital for the moment, and short form video. And when I say short form video, there are a couple of platforms out there, but the biggest one that everyone will know is TikTok. And 2020 we saw a massive rise in the use of TikTok by people.
Could the increase of music also be a little bit, I've been speaking into the podcast with some people that we feel an anxiety, we feel very isolated during this period of time, that music is something we maybe take it for granted, but during this kind of period of time, it helps us relax, it makes us happy, it makes us connect to other people.
100% yes. So yeah, we ask those kind of questions of like why people listen to music, and it is everything that you're saying there. Yes, it is that it's a mood booster, it's a mood alterer, so it can make you happy, but listening to other types of music makes you calm. It's an entertainment method. It's a way of keeping your children entertained. Like, it is an all-round useful and amazing thing. So yes.
And then music is a global language then. And culturally, we do know that people consume music differently. And in your report, you did look at the diverse musical tastes and consumption methods. What did you find across the different cultures?
Yeah, so we did a bunch of surveys in different countries, and we look at, how do people in different markets consume music differently? How do they discover music? Where do they consume music? And what are they listening to? And unsurprisingly, whilst it is a global music industry, it is also localized. And, things like in Japan, the local genres are more popular than Western music. So, people do listen to Western pop and Western rock, but really, it's Japanese pop music. It's classical music is very popular in Japan. Music from soundtracks, music from anime, And you know, every market has its kind of unique structure. In France, for example, French language music is also very popular, partly, I suspect, driven by the French quotas on radio. So, you know, radio in France has to pay a certain amount of French language, French music. In Italy, we saw that again, you know, whilst Western music is very popular, Western, I say Anglo-American music is very popular, there's also, you know, especially amongst teenagers, a real love of Italian language R&B and hip hop. So music from their country, from their streets, you know, there's Neapolitan hip hop is a really big kind of subgenre of hip hop that's very popular there. And we see similar.
Sorry, I had no idea, because I mean, I'm sometimes in France, and
yeah,
I knew that French hip hop was, you know, really huge and popular, but Italian, that was something new.
Absolutely, okay. Italian hip hop, but this is, I mean, actually, hip hop is a kind of very local language. Hip hop is very important across Europe. So again, Germany, it's a really big thing too. So Germany, France, Italy, all of these countries, music in that local language is hugely important.
Could it also be that hip hop is a way of talking nicely about the challenges that is going on in the different, you know, suburbs and what's going on in the country? So instead of going out and doing negative, you're trying to express yourself through music, which sometimes comes, the hip hop brings that out.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, I think it is. It's that cultural expression of your particular situation, and then that resonates very much locally. But it doesn't necessarily translate to other countries, partly due to language, but then also partly due to that experience being very, very local. So
yeah, it really shows the power of music, what it can do for us. So with the whole increase in everything with music, so let us